So welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we're going to fix up this old bumper. Here's the before, and here's the after. Man, that guy's a miracle worker. So you probably already figured out that that's not the original bumper. That is. So I took this old bumper in to a good old boy, Steve Capty. He's got his own welding shop, Capty Welding in Edmonton. And he took a look at it and he said, "Mark, this is pretty rough." He said he was gonna try and fix it for me, but he goes, "You know what, the bolt mounting holes are corroded and cracked. You've got a bad crack there. And it looks like that's been welded at least 3 times. So he was willing to put a few hours of work into it, but he said, "You know what, you're not going to be very happy with it." So he suggested he'd build a new one, and he gave me a friend price on that, and I'm glad he did. That looks right with this new grill. But we were able to salvage some pieces off this original bumper. Now I don't know what you call them. I'm guessing they're mud deflectors or mud guards, because they're actually right in front of each of the steer tires. So I'm guessing that if you're on a muddy road, it might fling mud around and build up in the bumper there. So that's what that's for, just to bounce off and go back down to the ground. So we salvaged those and we welded those in there. So that should work well. And I couldn't resist. I had to throw one of my 10-hole split rings on the truck just to get the look. And it hasn't popped off yet, so hopefully we're okay. I was actually a little nervous because it was only had about 40 psi in it. So what I did was I mounted it on the truck, and then what I did was I aired it up from in behind, and then I just kind of let the air build and stood back way on the other side of the truck. Now again, that ring's been seated in there for quite a while, so I don't think it's a big deal, but you gotta respect them. But boy, does that ever look right. Come on, Jeff, I need one more. You got to find a way to get across the border and get one up here to me for the other side. That's awesome. Okay, and I'm still planning, well, this isn't going to go to waste. What I'm thinking I might do is we'll make this into a nice piece of wall art when that finally gets built. And I actually might even take the old hood and slice off the first 6 inches of it and mount it on the wall and actually wire up the headlights and then put this bumper underneath. But anyway, I'm rambling. That's a project for another day. Okay, let's see if we can get those bolts through the holes there, throw a few in to at least keep it from falling off the truck, and see if we can get those Perlux lights fitted into those holes. Okay, so unfortunately I don't have a large collection of the right size bolts, plus I probably want to go with stainless so we don't get rust dripping down. I think go over to Bolt World and get the right bolts, but for now we'll just throw a couple in. Like I say, just to hold it on there. Like that. It wouldn't be a TwinSticks episode if I didn't use this guy at least once. Maybe one Ugga Dugga. So just notice that these are pointed the wrong way because these bolt on at the bottom of the bumper and they should be pointed down, not up. It'd be fun for blinding people, but I think we'll give them a spin just so they're right. Oh, I see how that comes out. Oh, cool. Oh, GE bulb. Good company. That's the old logo too. Okay, so we'll just turn these 180. Pointed down. That looks about right. And we'll put the ring back on and we'll mount these in the bumper. Perfect. Perlux 200 Ts. Yeah. No, it's not here. Yeah. It's a little too tall. I could probably spin that around at the top. Yeah. It seems. That one's a little closer. Okay, so we see how they look. Oh yeah. Right on. Yeah, so I just had to play with it a little. I just did some, used some washers as shims to raise it up, but of course I don't have enough big washers to do the other side, but yeah, that'll work good. Just like the movie. So next I want to get the steering wheel off of here, and these horn buttons can be a bit of a pain. And they actually twist off once you raise them up. They twist out, and there's 3 little tabs in there. And then of course you got the little cap, and the spring. We'll put that back together so we know how to get that back properly so it works. Now of course, one fan from Ontario from a previous episode, you saw that he got me a much nicer ivory steering wheel, so we'll use that on here. But then another fan locally in the Edmonton area said that he does work to actually refurbish these, so he wants to take a crack at fixing this up. So what I'll probably do is send him this one and see if he can fix this one up for the Duke. I just figure getting the steering wheel out of here will make a little more room as well to work. Okay, well, and of course the horn button, it's got a wire attached to it, so you got to disconnect that. And there we go. Okay. And this little tab for that guy. Oh, that's complicated. Okay. So now we need to get a nut and then a puller. We'll pull this off of here. Okay, this is the puller I used off the Peterbilt, but I have a feeling PACCAR kept this stuff pretty consistent. There we go. This guy's on there. Oh, there it goes. There. Smooth as silk. One steering wheel. All right, on to the next job. Well, no mouse nest, so that's a plus. Oh, looks like that guy broke off. I wonder if it goes right there. Probably. Wiring actually looks pretty decent. It's not a rat's nest. I pulled out a lot of old wiring on the Pete that shouldn't have been there. Oh, I don't think we're going to be able to tell how fast we're going. Oh, there's a Speedo cable there. Yeah. Wonder why it was disconnected. Probably doesn't work. Okay. Maybe I'll get the compressor and we'll blow this out, but I'm glad there's no mouse nests in there, because they can wreak a lot of havoc on the wiring system. And that's sure pretty crispy. That's going to need to be replaced too. Oh, fun. enough good things to say about this Milwaukee cutoff tool.
Do you want any of these old Milwaukee cans with the red? You can put them up in the cupboards in the kitchen, look great.
No, that's cool, but thanks.
They're not a sponsor, but this thing is handy. Wish they were a sponsor. Okay, what else can we cut? There we go. The leading. I better get this old Alpine cassette deck out of here. All right, now the fun job of masking all this off. Hey, Biff. And he wasn't much help. That was a bit of work. It's like wrapping Christmas presents. Okay, everything I don't want painted I think is taped off. So let's get spraying. Yeah, I have to say that turned out pretty darn good for a couple of rattle cans. And I know folks are probably going to type into the comments, rattle cans aren't restoration, but you know what? They fit in those tight spots a little better than the gun. And then you got the hose and everything else, and then you got to clean the gun too. So for this small amount of painting, we can get away with it. Oh, there's the ice cream truck. I guess I better go get my money. And just because we can, I figured why not put this up here and just take a quick look. Now, of course, I need to punch the hole for the door, the window crank. But we'll just hold this up here just quickly, just to get a look at how awesome this is going to be. Oh yeah, that is nice.
Your mother come to the window and be throwing change. She's saying, "Get your father toasted almond bar, and get your brother icy, and get yourself vanilla cone, and bring back my change." And you catch all that shit and run down the street top speed.
Well, I guess I don't need my money. Mrs. TwinStick brought hers. Okay, so next what I was thinking of doing was working on the floor. So I had made these in an earlier episode, just cut them out of 3/4 inch plywood, and then I just painted them with Trenclad. But of course, this is the bottom side down. It's gonna get water and road salt and a bunch of stuff, rainwater and snow splashed at it. So I was just walking around Canadian Tire, and I saw this rubberized black asphalt undercoating. And I thought, you know what, we're gonna give this a try. So I bought a couple cans of this garbage, and we'll throw it on here. You remember on the Pete, I just oiled the bottom, but we'll try this and see how it works. Ooh, it goes on there thick. I should probably put a mask on. It's pretty strong smelling stuff, but yeah, I think that'll work good. I don't know if you can see it in the camera there, but it's a thick liquid that after a couple of coats, I think will work just beautifully. Okay, let's coat this down. That's a nice thick coat. I think that'll work good to seal the wood and keep it from rotting out. And it may even be able to be reused 40 years from now when the next guy to restore this truck comes along. Okay, so next what I'm doing is removing the Speedo and the tack. And you're probably asking yourself, well, why is he doing that? And it's real simple. I was actually having a little YouTube time there, and I was watching one of my favorite channels, Zip Ties and Bias Plies. And old Peg, what he did was he found an old needle nose Kenworth. I think it's either late 60s or early 70s. Beautiful red truck, a logging truck. And so the whole video he was trying to get it started there, and he was feeding it ether, and when he finally got it running, I noticed that the tack had that little fin on the bottom of the needle. And that's a loud helicopter. Squirrel! And anyway, that is the exact one from the movie truck, both the Speedo and the tack. So I reached out to him and said, Peg, how am I going to talk you out of those gauges? Because they're movie correct and they're exactly what I'm looking for. And I found probably 3 sets of those already, but they've been in trucks. They've been in a Hayes and a couple of Kenworths. And every time I asked the wrecker, I said, you know, will you sell just the gauges? And oh, no, I got to sell the whole truck with the gauges, because what if someone comes to buy the truck and they want the gauges and they're missing? I mean, okay, fair enough. Aren't you an auto wrecker? Don't you sell stuff? But anyway, so I couldn't, the ones I could find, I couldn't buy. And so I reached out to Peg and said, hey, those are just the movie correct, perfect gauges for the Snowman. And you know what he did? 10 minutes later, he sends me a picture of them sitting on his workbench. So he went out to his truck and he ripped them out of that minty old needle nose Kenworth. And I still can't believe that he did that. I mean, that's the kind of guy that would give you the shirt off his back. So he says, yeah, no problem. As long as you trade me the gauges that are in your truck so I have something to put back in the hole, he'd be happy. So there you go, Peg. We'll trade you straight up. And don't worry, I'm going to take good care of you. He even said he's going to come down to Edmonton and deliver them when he has other things to do in town. So I'm going to take care of him. I'll make sure I give him these gauges and a whole truckload of PC lights. So thanks again, Peg. Very cool of you. So next I was thinking, why not, while the floor is still out, why don't we run the new pipe from the turbo back to the exhaust tee, just because it's easier access. So I went to my friends at ABC Muffler and brought these old rotten pipes to them and said, could you weld me up some new ones? So they got me some to match, and I got a whole bunch of brackets and clamps. And it's funny, ABC Muffler, they're the same place that has done just about all of my old vehicles. I had an old Mustang GT back in college, and we put real short blue bottles on there and flipped them around backwards so it was nice and loud. And I had a 6.2 diesel that we straight piped, and they've done just about every one of my vehicles, so I figured they might as well do my Kenworth as well. So okay, let's see if we can't get these pipes in here. There. One exhaust pipe installed. I figured I'd just go with galvanized clamps under the floor because no one's going to see it anyway. So, okay, let's get that floor in here. Yeah, that $12 tar in a can actually worked pretty good. tap. What are you bouncing? There, perfect. Okay, that looks pretty decent. So now what I'll do is I'll drill holes all the way around the edge and then here as well, and I got machine screws that'll suck the board down into the aluminum. Right on. Yeah, that worked out real nice. It's good and solid. And it's still removable if need be somewhere down the road. Right on. Okay, let's get this paper off of here and let some light in. Comes off a lot easier than it went on, that's for sure. Oh yeah, that happened. Tune in next week to see that build.